Hello and welcome, I'm Aziel, and one of the most interesting timeline diversions from Wild West Exodus and Dystopian Age is the fact that Abraham Lincoln is alive. Well, he's alive for the time, but he survived his assassination. And well, it's actually because he chose, to fake it. The entire thing was fake. He didn't really get assassinated. It was a attempt for him to be able to do what was needed, but he said that the Oval Office was too restrictive. Being a president didn't give him the freedom that he needed to help his country, and to him helping the country was far more important. Now, to actually look at this, we have to go a bit further back in time to when the Civil War happened. Now, during the Civil War, the Enlightened were funding and arming both the Confederacy and the Union. This was putting them on equal footing. Now, the thing is, the Enlightened does this a lot. They tend to believe they are, non-political group. They are apolitical, and they do what they think is best. They also don't realise that people have guns and kill each other. So the Enlightened were basically arming both the Confederacy and the Confederacy and the Union. Now, that was up until one Nikola Tesla decided that this can't go on, and decided that this can't go. It was costing too many lives, and problems were getting worse. So he took his time, and he moved over to America, and actually designed his own weapons and created vehicles, and started to arm the Union, thinking the Union, were the good guys in this. And with these new weapons, this gave the Union the massive advantage. Up until the point where Ulysses Grant took the Union Army to Richmond and massacred it. 75% of the entire city was destroyed, and the Confederacy was pretty much ended there and then. However, that wasn't the end of it, and Mr. Abraham Lincoln knew. And it was during the conversation. This conversation must have happened with a friend, one John Wilkes Booth. John Wilkes Booth was a very staunch supporter of the Union. He was very much a loyalist to America, and he was very, very fond of Abraham Lincoln. Now, they were friends, and Abraham Lincoln had convinced him that the best thing that he could do was, of course, kill the president, kill Abraham Lincoln. He was not a fan of this, but the thing was, it was something that had to be done. The martyrdom of a president will unite the States, and it would help Abraham Lincoln do what needed to be done when it comes to other threats. Now, see, America didn't just have the Civil War as a threat. The Crown was still very much reeling of the independence of America. They were not very, that had happened not that long previously. It's only 80 years beforehand. 1776, about 80 years, 4 score and 10 years ago, so about 90 years. So there you go. The Crown was still pretty much annoyed, and they were up north with Canada. You had the southern border as well, which definitely was causing issues. Let alone the weirdness that was happening out to the wildness, out to the west, Wild West. With the warring nations invading towns and taking back their lands. And you had the Hex, you had the Watches. There was a lot of stuff happening, and Abraham Lincoln understood the White House had become a restrictive place. So he could no longer, bear the mantle of president and still rule and, guide America in a way that needed to be done. So with this, he had this conversation with Mr. John Wilkes Booth, that John Wilkes Booth was going to stage this assassination. Now, he had to keep this completely secret. Only him and John Wilkes Booth and very few others. I would say Andrew Buchanan may have been involved because he was to step up afterwards as president. But I don't know that one. The only one I do know is that Nikola Tesla was involved. He knew because he designed the blank firing weapon. And John Wilkes Booth and Abraham Lincoln were the only 3 people that would know of the subterfuge. Even Abraham Lincoln's family were going to be completely unaware of this. So, on the night of his assassination, a blaster had been handed to Mr. Booth. Mr. Booth Okay, so basically, we skip forward about that. Well, Abraham Lincoln went to the Fort Theatre, and during that time, he was taking place in the play, and there we go. John Wilkes Booth went into his box and shot him, shouting, "Death to tyrants" in Latin, and therefore apparently killing Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln's body was quickly whisked away, and he was buried shortly after it. John Wilkes Booth was captured and killed. John Wilkes Booth always knew that would be the end for him. He was given his life for the Union. That was what he knew. He knew that he was okay with that. He knew that this was going to cost him his life, as well as the president would no longer be able to have a public or private life again. They had both sacrificed a lot, so the Union would survive. So after that, John Wilkes Booth was killed, and Abraham Lincoln's body was taken away quickly, and then we get by the Secret Service. So I was always wondered about this as well. So obviously some Secret Service members had to know as well, because he can't just suddenly come back with, "Hey, I'm actually alive here." And if you listen to the Enlightenment law I did, you would also know that he took on the role of director of the Secret Service. Now, what I can gather from this is that there's actually 2 Secret Services now employed in. Might be just the one, if we talk, which I'll bring up in a minute, but there could be 2 Secret Services. There's the Secret Service that protects the president, and one we all see with that we know about today, and a second one which works in secret with Lincoln, helping him obtain knowledge, information, and everything else of the Union's and the state's enemies, such as the Crown's attacks, the Enlightened's weapons, and whatever else may be about. So that is one case. The second case is that they're actually part of the same Secret Service, so that don't tell, which gives some information to the current president who's running the country, but all the major information bypasses him and goes straight to Lincoln and his team, so they know how to defend best against these threats. So there you go. So this is one of my fun parts of Divergence, of the why Abraham Lincoln didn't actually assassinate himself, didn't get assassinated I should say, and continued with this. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a interesting one. Like I said, I like the Wild West Exodus because of its divergent timeline and these extra little historical points, such as the death of the Abraham Lincoln, but not real death of Abraham Lincoln. Anyway, once again, thank you very much for watching. Links to Wayland games down below. If you want to get into Wild West Exodus, I would definitely suggest it. The models look great, the game is great, the community is fantastic as well, actually. For Wayland Planet, as well as my merchandise, my comics, and everything else is down below. And I'll speak to you all again soon, tomorrow in the next video. And that's it. Have a good day. Oh, Patreon as well. But as always, treat yourself to something nice. Bye bye.